Hello, hello. So hopefully everything's working all right today. All right. So I'm just going to get myself set up here. And in a second here, I will be showing you what we're going to be doing today. I was playing around with some of these designs using some gears, and it is a little bit challenging, I'll admit that. Hi, welcome. And so I'll give it a few seconds because I know it's going to take a moment for people to kind of roll in. Hi there. How are you doing? So we've got the, oh my gosh, Yawordle, Vanaha's channel, Miss Melissa, hello. Ron, you're here. Hello. Hi, thank you. If at any point I have any issues with audio or my camera or anything, please let me know. I'm doing my best to kind of keep track of everything. It's kind of crazy. It's like a video game. I've got all these little things on my screen, and then I've got the drawing that I'm working on, and it's just like, it's very intense. So it's something interesting to kind of get used to here. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Happy Valentine's Day. Yep. It's just one of those days. Hello, hello. So I've got here a drawing that I was working on over the last few days, just kind of playing around with it. So that's been kind of fun, and I've just kind of been thinking of what colors might be good for this, or what kind of tones or palette. I do have some ink that I want to use, so definitely we're going to start with that. I've got ink, and how about I start showing you some of those? Yep, so let me go ahead and grab those right now. Hello, hello. E. Davidson, hello. Looks like you're in Australia. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to start showing you some of the inks that I'm using and the ink washes that I'll be making. This is a calligraphy ink right here. And this is not waterproof, but the color is just really nice. So I'm going to be using this one. This is by Winsor & Newton calligraphy ink. And the wonderful part about this ink is that it was only about $3 or $4. It wasn't too bad, and it's a whole bottle. So for ink right now, that's kind of a good price. And then I'm hoping to be able to use this Liquitex. This is acrylic ink, so once it dries, it stays put. I don't have to worry about it like becoming messed up when I add more wet stuff on top. So this is the muted gray. And it actually has a bit of a purple undertone to it. So that'll be interesting, seeing how the warm and the cool colors interact. And of course, hopefully we'll have time. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully, if we have time, I'll use some of the white. And again, because it's acrylic, it shouldn't interact too much with other things that are going to be on the page. So this will be nice. And then, of course, because this is art, I'll use pretty much anything else that's within reach to try to create whatever I can. Maybe pencils, just some regular ink wash with like the black ink. I know we've done that before. I know I have it here. Oh, yes, perfect. So this thing, I still have some of an ink wash that's made out of the black ink. And so this is going to add some gray here and there wherever it is I need to add like little shadows and things like that. So that'll be fun. All right. Hello there. Hi, Jan. Hello, hello. Deshitana. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm trying. Hello there. And then somebody mentioned you do mathematically inspired drawings. Yes, it is if you know about math to a certain level, and I'm not talking like even calculus, but above, like when you're talking theory, you would probably be able to see a lot of the math that's involved in the things that I like to do, and that's why even though my artwork looks very organic and very smooth, curvy lines, a lot of that is deeper mathematics are involved because in real math, nothing has like jagged lines. Everything is smooth and continuous, which is kind of necessary in order to do calculus on a lot of shapes. So I won't talk too much about that. I know we're here to do art, not talk about horrible, horrible math. So let's see here. And I'm trying to make sure that I have everything here and everything that I'm going to use. So as everybody rolls in, you guys know kind of what kind of stuff to grab if you're going to try some of what I'm doing here. I've also got some brushes. Let's see, anything else that's special? Oh, that's right. So something to make circles if you are so inclined. If you are so inclined, you can use, I believe this is a compass, right? I think this is a compass. For some reason, I can never quite remember what this is called, even though I use it all the time. A compass. I know that I have this nifty tool that also makes circles. Sometimes it's a little hard for me to use it on my sketchbook because of the nature of this is this kind of rotates around this little metal piece. And my pages aren't always flat. So I might not use this today, but yeah, something to make circles because we're going to make a lot of concentric circles in order to draw these gears. So that'll be fun. So yeah, pretty nice. Oh, so Jude is in England. Okay. So it's about how many hours difference is it from here? It's quite a bit, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's quite a bit. Nice. Call me Deshi. Okay. Hi. That's nice. Thank you. If I see your name in later live streams, I'll call you Deshi. Ron loved calculus back in high school. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I remember when I first took calculus, I quit the class. It was hard. I'm going to go to my other page and rotate just because of the nature of the space that I've got here. Yeah, I quit the first time I tried calculus. But definitely second time around I tried harder. And that worked out a little better for me. So yeah, even when things are difficult, it doesn't mean you should stop. Definitely. Yeah, the compass. Okay. You can always do this freehand. So Deshi was saying that you haven't had one in years. If you don't have a compass or anything else to make circles with, for sure, you can do this freehand. So it's all going to depend on your skill at the moment or your ability with circles. But yeah, just do your best. It's okay, even if it's a little wobbly or wonky. No worries about any of that. So I'm going to find my favorite pencil right now. Let's see here. And as you can see, this page that I have, I was already playing with. And what you see on the page, and Jude, it's 1 a.m. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here with us. That's really nice. All right, here. So this page here, I've got a bit of an ink wash on here already, and this is involving this ink, the sepia. And what I'm actually going to do is, just to get started, because I know some of you might have a blank page right now, I'm going to start by creating some of my mixes of ink and water here. And for that, because I need so little of it, I need my brush, which ran away apparently. There we go. How about I use this one? And so all I'm really going to do here is just take a little bit of my ink. I hardly need any of it. That's kind of why this goes such a long way. And if you have like a little spray bottle or a dropper, I've got these kind of syringes. And just drop just a few drops of water. Let's see what that looks like. So that's not too bad. That's pretty good. I am the Shadow Queen. I like that. That's really nice. I consider myself the Purple Queen right now, but yeah, Shadow Queen sounds pretty good. It's kind of a part of one of my obsessions, definitely. I agree. Shadows are very important to add depth to your drawings. And this time I actually remembered to have a little towel. That's really important. So this one is going to be a bit of a darker concentration. When I did this initial wash, it had more water in it, so that's why it's so light and really gentle. And so the very first thing that I'm going to do is take my tool, if you have one. If not, try doing it freehand. Circles can be done freehand. It's doable. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a sequence of concentric circles. So I'm going to try to just keep this on my page. I'm going to choose about, what's a good spot? I try not to put things in the center. This is kind of going to look like a mandala a little bit. And I need 5 circles in order to create my initial gear. So I'll show you what I mean. This first one's going to be super tiny and hard to do, but I'll do my best. So here, just really gently, I'm just going to try to lay down. See, it already moved. There we go. Let's see if I can accomplish this circle making challenge. Okay, that's close enough. I just got my first circle. That's kind of just the very center of that gear. I'm just going to open it up a tiny bit and do my second one. You can play around with the distance for sure. I did draw a bunch of these freehand, so know that it is possible. It is possible to kind of just draw these circles. They don't have to be perfect. Very nice. You love the shadows. Ah, Friddies from New Zealand. Hello. Hi. Thank you for joining. We're just playing around here. We're going to try to draw some gears and see what we can come up with today. So we're going to draw our third concentric circle. I'm going to give, I think this one I want to give it a little more space. Could we water down acrylic paint and get the same effect? I think you can, actually. You can. Give it a try. It's going to look a little different depending on what type of paint you have. But you can definitely water some paint down. Just know it might behave slightly differently. But I have certainly done that. So there's my 1, 2, 3, third circle. Is this a part of your 100-day challenge? This one, in a way, it's a bit of a like a practice for me. This is a practice, but no, it is not. This is just something I want to play around with right now. Here's the fourth one, like that. Hopefully you guys can see. I know it's kind of light. The pencil is very light, but yeah, we've got 4 concentric circles right now. And the last one is going to be much closer. So the gap between the circles will be much smaller. So hopefully only about there. This is where the teeth of that gear are going to be. Let's see if I can get it in there in a visible sort of fashion. Okay. So that looks pretty good. So I think I like that. So that's one gear. That's going to be one gear. Let's just go ahead and start playing with that one. That way we can just do the thing. And then I'll show you how I add more gears around it. Let's try it. I'm going to get in just a little closer. It's visible? Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. Sometimes what I see on my screen might not be exactly what you guys see on yours. So I'm going to get just a little more close. Maybe zoom. There we go. The magic of technology is here to assist us. I'm going to pick a pen. Let's see, which one is my favorite right now? Which one of the 20 pens on my desk is my favorite right now? It's a problem, but it's a good problem. So I'm just kind of going to start at the center of this thing. So how about make sure it's in view here. There we go. Ron says, no issue seeing anything. And your glasses are broken. You get those back. You want to be able to see things properly. Get your glasses. I'm just going to start with that first ring and just ink it in real quick. So there we go. I'm actually not sure if this pen, water-based, it might not be good to use this one. I'm going to be a good girl and actually switch to a pen that has water-resistant ink in it. I know I have one here. This one is a brush pen. Good, good, good. Yeah. Just because I'm going to be using ink washes, I want to make sure that my line work doesn't disappear when I'm playing around with this. Yes, definitely, definitely. Michelle says, hi, you just made it. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Charlie's mom, you have binge watched a lot of my videos? Wow, thank you. Yeah, wonderful. I hope you're enjoying them. Hope you're enjoying them. Vanahas. I'm actually still trying to figure out how to say that. Are you Hispanic, like from Mexico or south from here, like in Spanish, Banajas, or are you from somewhere else? Like, should I pronounce it a different way? Let me know. I don't know if there's a way. Is there a way to type that out? I might need to look that up. First circle, I'm going to leave that alone. Let's see here. So I'm going to use the gap between the second and third circle to create where those kind of like support bars are. So I guess for a second here, I'm going to switch to my pencil. Pencil to help today. Let's see here. So I'm going to kind of cut this up into quarters, so quadrants. So you'll notice here I'm just drawing these kind of lines. They're like the little bars that come out from the center. And so here's kind of north and south. This part I like to just eyeball. I'm not super picky about how these turn out. I'm just going to do my best to kind of do top, bottom, and then left and right, because that's just easy. It's an easy enough place to start. So a bar here and here. If you can do it, you want to do it like an X or like a plus sign, however you like, it's all cool. Nice. Oh, Indian. Okay. J is just J. Vanajas? I will learn eventually. I'll figure it out. I promise I'll figure it out. Okay, so I've got this kind of like a plus sign shape, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the intersection of that second circle and the third circle to create those segments, those cutout segments. However, where they touch, I'm going to try to kind of round them off. So it almost looks like I'm creating these little bean shapes. They look like beans. There's going to be 4 of them. So let's do that. It's fine if you don't want to round it off. That's not a problem. It's up to you. It's your design. You're doing it on your page, so you can design it however you like. I like to round them off because I just figure that for some reason, like realistically, I imagine that if I were actually pressing these out of a sheet of metal or something like that, then I would want it to be stronger. So less corners makes a shape that's a little stronger. You want things to be a little bit smoother. So there we go. 4 little beans. You've got the beans. So now you have the center part, the openings, creating the bars. Now we're going to use the last 2 to start creating our teeth. Let's make little teeth here. And I'm just going to keep like the same simple idea here. I'm going to start making these sort of dashes, kind of like north and south, east and west, kind of along these sides here. What this, for me, it keeps me from having to use a protractor, because it gets a little complicated. I've got this little guy here, can help me measure the angles. That's always a possibility. And you're asking if this is an HB pencil? Yes, it is. It's a number 2 HB. Yeah, it's like a standard school pencil, and I like it a lot. Not using anything special right now. The thing on the back, I put that on there though. This is an eraser. And so what I'm going to do now that I have my quadrant set up, I'm going to start cutting them in half. So here's a dash cutting that section in half. And I'll do the rest with the others. Half, half, half. I'm pretty sure that actual gears will have differing types of amounts of teeth on them, but for me it's just easy to do even numbers. I'm going to cut these in half again. Like so. So now I have 4, they were 4, doubled was 8. Okay. And then 16. So we should have that amount here. And I'm okay just kind of eyeballing it. Okay. So those are all my little segments. If you want to, you can cut that in half again. That's fine. However many you want are pretty good here. I'm going to leave it at this. I think I'm good with that amount. And now back to my pen. You like the rounded look? I like it too. It looks nice and smooth. It looks more, to me, a little more attractive, a little more appealing. Okay, so now that I have those, I'm going to use those little dashes to start creating my teeth. And I don't know why, but when I do this, I generally like to make sure that they're they're angled the right way as far as my brain thinks. So I've noticed that the teeth on these guys aren't straight out following that line. I think initially, maybe like, we would think that we would just follow the line, but if the gear actually did have that shape, they wouldn't quite they wouldn't mesh with each other smoothly as they kind of rotate. So that's just kind of like a little thing of mine. So I'm going to do one line following the bottom, angle it a little, then draw this sort of tooth. It's going to be a bit on the big side. It's a big one. So essentially we're only doing 8 of them as like little teeth on this thing. For the next one we can add more. So I'm just going to kind of alternate. Make these relatively large bits here. Just angle them a tiny bit. Let me go up here. Not too bad. Not too bad. Oh, so I'm guessing, Ron, you're talking about the delay. I thought I'd set it to show up instantly, but I'm guessing it's just the matter of the way that maybe the way the stream is set up. I can check it again, but I had it set to show up instantly whenever somebody makes a comment. So I'm just going to continue making these. I know they're not going to be perfect. That's okay. I don't need them to be super perfect. I just want shapes. Okay, so there's my first gear. It's not too bad. I'm happy about that. I'm going to try using a little bit of my ink wash. I'm going to do a slight test on another sheet of paper. I want to see how dark it is. Essentially, like, I want to know if it's dark enough. Otherwise, I might need to add more ink. Where is that tiny, tiny little brush is what I'm looking for right now. Right, yeah, Ron is saying that the information has to travel all the way around the world before showing up on the screen again. It's magical that it even works. I'm just saying, it's magic. So let me see about how dark this is. It's about the same, but that actually might be nice. That might be very nice. What I can do really quickly to make sure that I have a slightly darker tone here is I will open up my bottle again real quick and just sample the ink a bit and add it to my mixture. I can always do that. It'll make it just a little darker. It's hard to tell sometimes, especially with some of these inks. Okay. I'm going to try to be a good girl and close these because you can imagine how accidents happen. You can imagine. Let's see how this looks. It's a little darker. That's nice. I think it might. This is pretty good for me. I'm going to just go around adding some of this around this gear just to see what we can make as far as colors go. Let's find out if this first pen that I used can handle having some water on it. So I'm just using this very tiny brush. Whatever brush you've got, play around with it. See what you can make happen. And then occasionally I might use some water just to kind of thin it out if I can. Okay, that's not too bad. I also have a sepia pen, which might help me add some darker spots here. Well, this is still a little wet. That might work. I'm not going to fill that area in with black, just because I think that if I want this to be connected to something, then that area should be filled with some kind of contraption. So I will leave it like that. I'm just kind of adding a little bit more tone to the edges here. I think something that's really nice about like a steampunk kind of stuff is that you've got all these sort of muted colors. It's very kind of Edwardian, maybe Victorian if you want to think of it that way, but I think it might be more Edwardian. Just like the clothes that people wear, the designs, just like these muted browns. I wonder what it was like living at that time, huh? Must have been really interesting. Thank you. It looks great so far. Thank you. Thank you. And what paper am I using? This is watercolor paper. So this is I believe it is 90-pound watercolor paper it's the kind that I put in my journals. So it can handle the water well enough, at least. I don't use very heavy applications though. I'm going to check the back real quick. No, it's good. It's good. Nothing's creeping through. So yeah, watercolor paper is preferable if you're going to be doing water like this. So that's not too bad. I'm going to make a quick mix with my gray stuff. Thankfully this has a dropper at least. This big guy has a dropper, so I can probably just do one drop. Boop. That's it. That's all it takes. Gonna water that down. Hopefully not too much, because this one is inherently a little bit on the lighter side. Let's see how that works. And I'm actually okay with these inks kind of mixing up a little bit. So occasionally I might get some of that sepia in here with this purpley gray. In fact, I may just do it on purpose right now just to try to get a bit of a blended tone. We shall see what happens. Might be nice. Always play around with the stuff you've got. Very nice. Jude. You're in bed now. Yeah. You are in a different time zone, that's for sure. Alright, let's see what happens here. I'm going to try adding a little bit to that center one again just to see if the tone... Oh, that's not too bad. I like that. It's just adding just a tiny bit of tone. I may want to add more ink anyway later. I'm going to add some of this around those teeth of the gear, around that outer edge. I like that. That's pretty cool. It's always interesting making something that isn't quite as vibrant, but just kind of... just got a little bit going on there. Just a little bit. You'll notice that I'm not doing anything with my pencil lines. I'm going to leave them. I actually have been enjoying the look of leaving those pencil lines there. It adds to the steampunkiness, is all that kind of sketchiness. Alright, so I think I'm going to set aside the ink wash for now. Let me see the time, about 5:30. Okay, very nice. I have to make sure to rinse my little brushes because some of this is acrylic ink. And I don't want to ruin these brushes yet. Okay, very nice. Oh, that's right, Jude. You used to make steampunk plaques using MFD cutouts. So were they big? Were they like large projects? Tell me about it. Deshi said it's almost like a watercolor effect. Nice. Yeah, it is. It's very much that. So if you have watercolors, go ahead and do that. The only reason I don't use watercolors is just because for me, I'm going to zoom back out. The watercolors still become reactive again, and that annoys me. Yeah, I really don't like it when the colors start interacting and then I'm just not confident enough to kind of make quick strokes. So ink for me, I'm looking for my tool here. There we go. This guy. I'm going to make a few more circles, so I'm kind of going to add another gear directly behind this one. And so that means that I'm going to start adding just a couple more circles. So let's see here. I'm going to just add a second one here. So I'm going to stay here between the second and third one, and I'm going to just make a circle there right now. It's a little wet, so it's going to be a little tough to get the line in there perfectly, but it is marking. If it gets too wet, I will probably bust out my little heater, my little heating gun, and you will see the violence inherent in the system, but it'll work. So I've just made this little ring right there. That's one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another sequence of these little bars right there. And I'm just going to make them slightly offset. So I'm going to put a bar here. I'm going to try to go across here. I can do different quantities, like it could be 6 or 8 or whatever. They're even like a little wonky right now too, but I'm okay with that. So these 2 bars, and then I'm going to kind of rotate myself a little bit here. Very nice. Oh, I'm just checking out the chat really quick. Thank you guys. Very nice. Sketchy's cool. Nice. M Sunshine Starchild. Hello, welcome. Deshi, the ink won't become active again? That's a good question. The ink behaving that way for me has a lot to do with it being acrylic ink, primarily. You may have, if you were here, like right when I started, I mentioned that the sepia ink is not acrylic, so it might react a little. That was kind of where I was like, I wish it were acrylic. But yeah, even when it isn't that, it still has a tendency to kind of stay put more. It stays put more, and it won't react. So I'm going to kind of finish up these bars here with that circle that I drew. So hopefully, there we go. Let's see if we can get these in here without ruining too much. So there's that one. I only did 4 because I think it just kind of is a little easier to get them in here. It's a little complicated and it's a little satisfying. It's a little bit of everything here. Yeah, definitely the aspect that makes the inks not react is them being acrylic. Essentially it's plastic, if that makes any sense. Like acrylic paint won't react once it dries. So I think those look okay enough. A little wonky, but no worries. And then I'm going to move on to adding the outer part of that. So I need to make another circle. Let's see here. I'm going to use this kind of sepia pen. Let me see what happens. I want to add this line down the middle, almost as if it was like a screw or something, and there's like a line here to put your tool in there to kind of tighten it or loosen it, something like that. Why not? Making it up as we go. So there's that one. Let me find my center again. I'm going to make 2 more circles around this set here. Sketchy little circles. It's a little easier once they get bigger. I know that super tiny, they just very difficult. So there's that one, and now I need another one so that I can add some teeth to this. Or whatever else they may be called. I just know I always think of them as like the teeth. Let me see, about here should be okay, I hope. Let's do this real quick. That one, there we go. There it is. So we just needed 3 more circles for this one because the rest of it is hidden under the other one. Alright, so that's pretty good. And I'm going to do something very similar to the first one to add the little teeth. Yeah. Very nice. Jude said that, so they were about 12 by 8, and when mounted on a larger background. Oh, okay, so you would mount them on something else. That would be really cool. Sounds really nice. Very good. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure out where I want to orient these. That's why I'm looking. I'm kind of gauging how it looks here and there. I think I'm going to do the same thing. And I was actually just thinking right now, nice, that it actually is necessary for us to cut everything in half because you have a raised part and a lowered part. In order for everything to meet up, you have to have even numbers. So because we have to do that, we should cut everything in half, 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 half. So we're going to do that again. I can kind of use my current spots here to create some dashes. So I'm kind of just going to use those to orient myself. So here's the part that goes down, the part that goes up. I'm just going to add a dash on each one of those. Down, up. This is all hidden. Up, down, up, down, up. This is probably the kind of thing when I was doing my upper division coursework where they would have had us do some kind of ridiculous mathematical proof to prove how the number of teeth on a gear must always be a certain number. But I guarantee you I would have enjoyed it because that stuff really does. It's so good. And so now that I have those, I think I want these teeth to be a little smaller, so I'm going to cut these in half again. So I'm going to go half, half, half again. Let's see about here. Dang it. So now I'm actually thinking of how I might prove that. That might be fun. There's a chance you could use proof by induction. Induction might do it. Yeah, because we could work backwards. Yeah, that might be good stuff. Sometimes this gets me going, and then that's kind of what clears my mind. For whatever it is that you guys have that kind of clears your mind, for me it's that it's math and physics. Just kind of, I start wondering like, wow, that would work, wouldn't it? Definitely. So now we cut it in half again. A little wonky, but we're going to put some teeth on here now, and we're going to do kind of the same thing. So let me just start. This one is a brush, so I'm going to see kind of how this one feels when I use this little brush pen. So let's go here. Here's the lower part. Ooh, that is nice, but I might have to switch. It's very inky. See the little teeth? And then the bottom part. Up, over, down, over. Oh yeah, I'm switching. This is super inky. This isn't the right use for this one. Yeah, 0.6. Back to the one I had a moment ago. Bottom part, up, over, down. Like little mesas in the desert. Like a hill that lost the top of it, just got flattened out. It would be interesting doing like an entire page, like a mandala like that, where this would just grow and grow and grow and grow. That might be fun. Nice. Ron said, gears have teeth. You know what you're doing. Teeth, indeed. Start another channel for math. That might be fun. That might be fun. I've thought about it. I've thought about doing something like that. Might be fun. Math is hard though, and that it's scary if someone who really understands math to challenge any of the work that I do, they might. However, there are a lot of people out on the internet who think they know math, and even I can tell maybe they should kind of slow down a little. But I would never discourage anyone from exploring it and kind of messing around with it. There's a lot of stuff there to be learned if you're brave enough. A lot of really interesting stuff. Nice. The gears look good. Yeah, thank you so much. We're going to start adding some black and a little bit of shading, and we're going to see what happens. I hope you're enjoying this. This is a little bit like making a mandala. It's got all that wonderful kind of circular, radial geometry. It's just blooming outwards, and the pattern is just going to keep growing. So I hope you're enjoying this. I'm really liking it a lot. The colors are kind of nice, muted. What I'm going to do is in those little gaps that formed behind the second gear, I'm just going to go ahead and fill them in with black because today I am the Shadow Queen. Thank you for that one, by the way. That one was really good. Oh, hello there. Hi. Are you just joining us right now, DB? If you are, welcome. Thank you. We're just playing around, making some gears. We are using ink. We're being brave. And occasionally I am rambling on about how wonderful math is. So good. There we go. My signature move is to find places to just fill with black. That's what it is. The Riemann hypothesis, please. We could always do that. If any of you are like to read kind of older fiction, I don't suppose if any of you remember who the writer was, that the author who couldn't wrap his mind around mathematics, and he kept writing about he kept wanting to write about math in his fiction, but he just, because he couldn't understand it, he kept writing all these weird things, talking about how magical. What was it that he kept talking about? My goodness. I know that it's kind of like a running joke within certain circles. that he just didn't have the constitution to understand mathematics, so he kept making up like magic systems to try to wrap his own mind around it. But hey, it's good. Like, it's good to kind of talk about stuff even when you don't understand it. It's good to kind of try to learn to understand it. Your phone typing is destroying you. Phones are tiny, and then people fingers are big, so trying to do that, it's pretty difficult. Yes, I knew what you were talking about. Yeah, Riemann sums. Yeah, I mean, it's a little more than a hypothesis. Like, it works. It works really nicely, but yeah, for sure. Let's see here. I think so far, see how the adding the black is starting to really give it so much more depth. It's pulling those drawings, those gears forward now. And so I'm going to pause in the black, and I want to do some shading, which means that right now I'm going to use that ink wash. So in here, I'm not going to make it right now because I already have it, but if any of you don't know how I do this right here, it's one of these watercolor pens, and I put in anywhere between 10 and 30 sometimes. So right here, this may not be accurate anymore. This might have around 20 drops of ink, and then I fill the rest with water, give it a shake, and then I can use this to do my shading instead of a pencil or anything like that. So I'm going to use that right now. I'm definitely going to use that. Nice. And thank you guys for hitting the heart. I know that I'm really bad at reminding people to, if they have a chance, kind of hit the like button and things like that, but I remembered this time. So yeah, if you have a chance, hit the like button if you're enjoying the stream. I'm doing this a lot more these days. I am getting out of my comfort zone, doing my best to be brave and to do what I love and to share it with other people. So yeah, please hit that like button as I do a little bit of shading here on this gear. So this is a pen that I have that has just a tiny bit of black ink mixed in with a whole lot of water. And I'm just using it really gently here to add little shadows. Nice little shadows, especially on these sections that are behind the first gear. I'm going to darken those. I may even go into that space and darken it even more. I just really want it to go in there, really disappear kind of behind. Jude, your maths teacher told you you'd never be any good at math and promptly sent you to the... What? What? That is awful. Why would they send you to the back of the class for being bad at math? I would take the students that weren't so good and bring them to the front. Because half of the time, they really just needed to pay more attention and stop goofing around. You send a kid to the back of the classroom and they're just going to pay even less attention. That's awful. Not to mention, why would a teacher tell you you're never going to get this? Rude. That's rude. If anyone had ever told me that, ever, oh my gosh. Oh no. I was awful at math. I hated it. I started to discover aspects of it that I really loved, and then I went at it. That's how that happens. I'm going to grab my gun. There's going to be violence. And there we go. Found it. It's just a little heating gun. Hopefully this doesn't get too loud, but I'm going to turn down the volume on my mic just to make sure. I'm going to turn it down for a sec. I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah, so you're saying that you've had a phobia. That's so bad. We've talked about it here on this channel during some of our lives before, that just the impact that our teachers had on us when we were children is huge. I've had very good teachers, and so I wanted to be like them, and it's wonderful. But when you have one that just tells you essentially that you suck, is just tells you that you're trash or that you're garbage, is just So awful. It can ruin you for such a long time. Such a long time. That's not cool. There's a reason why we all have to learn math at school. So it's not just to torture us. They're not just trying to torture us. It really does help your mind. It really does help you learn to think a little more critically, do a little bit more puzzles, and just kind of understand how it is that you can break things apart and peel away the pieces of it until you find the truth that's at the core of the thing. And that's what math is supposed to enable you to do. But we have environments in which we aren't really, helped out. That's looking pretty good, nice and dark. I like it. This is pretty cool. Very nice. Shadow Queen in action, indeed. Very nice. Yeah, I had to get the gun. Sorry, it got violent here for a moment. I hope you handled it. Very nice. So Anna is asking, Miss Betsy, how did you grasp math? Did you see patterns? Oh, that's a good question. Let me think about that for a second. I'll think about it for just a second. The teacher does matter. Yeah, Deshi says the teacher really does matter. And Jude said, thank God I was good at English. Yeah. Hey, languages are hard too. Sometimes people don't acknowledge just how difficult languages can be as well. But it's another kind of pattern recognition that we need in order to understand languages, for sure. And then Ron said, you wish you were good at you wish you were good at English. I'm pretty sure you're pretty good at it. It's just sometimes in an academic setting, we get pushed to do a lot of crazy things. So I'm going to attempt to use a little bit of this one here on that second gear. Let's see if we can make some stuff happen. And I'm not using it on the entire gear, just kind of on this edge where it comes into contact with the initial gear. I don't know how well this is going to turn out, but I'm just starting with this. See what happens. Oh yeah. I remember too that when I went back to a junior college or community college, I took an assessment and they told me I needed to take a basic English class because my English was awful. And I felt so bad about myself. I was just thinking like, really, it's that bad? Oh my gosh. And then when I went to the class, I remember it didn't take long before the instructor was looking at me, the professor, and said, why in the world are you in my class? I'm going to start adding some dark over here. Some dark. Let's do some dark. Just going to do some lines. Yeah, so just because an assessment or something else or a test or an exam on written paper implies that you're not good at a thing, it's probably not true. My biggest issues with the education system was definitely that we were constantly basing outcomes on written tests, on paper. You force somebody to sit down for an hour and write down the entirety of their knowledge on a piece of paper, and that somehow you then use the number to tell them how intelligent or how dumb they are. And that's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Definitely. Deshi said, no one ever told you that. Yeah. Yeah, it may be a different perspective that people have around the world when it comes to mathematics. Yes, finance necessitates the use of mathematics. Definitely. Especially if you want to learn any kind of interesting finance, like big money or anything like that. For sure, there is a lot of calculus behind the black box that is finance. But for sure, critical thinking requires the use of logic. And if you learn higher mathematics, it's pretty much all based on a foundation of logic. Being able to understand what counts as true and what isn't true, and can you prove that? So yeah, for me, that's what math was about. It was about logic. Nice. Randy loves steampunk. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. I'm going to continue this look of these lines. I'm really enjoying that. I wanted to add another gear out here, and I might on a different drawing. You know what? I'm feeling these kind of, let me hold it this way. I'm feeling these vertical lines, and so I'm going to keep doing that. So you guys give it a try too if you want to. We're gonna see what happens here. I'm actually really liking it. So I'm going to do some more of that. Anne says, agree with what you say. Yeah, you have difficulty with the subject. Yeah, definitely. It's got to be the most difficult subject for most people. Miss Rush said, first time you've been to the live. Hi, welcome. Welcome. We're just drawing and chatting and hopefully enjoying ourselves. I'm going to keep working on some of these lines right here. Math is very interesting if taught by the right teacher. It can be. It definitely can be. But I will also add that currently in our educational system, there's kind of like a social break that's happening, and students are becoming very difficult too. It's not just the teacher. Teacher's a big part. It's important. But socially right now, kids are becoming a bit feral. And it's very difficult to teach right now. It's very difficult. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know that at least here in the United States, teachers are quitting left and right. I quit. I was barely getting started and I quit. It was awful. For many reasons. It's very difficult. Eventually, at some point, my throat starts to bother me. Just trying to make sure to drink water to help out with that a little bit. Anne says, will you be my math teacher? I might. I might be your math teacher. I still love that very much. I am considering continuing to do... Wow, sorry about that. My throat and my allergies get dumb after a little while. But I will definitely consider after a certain point maybe getting back into mathematics, at least doing some kind of tutoring or something. It is important. It's important to keep the mind busy, to keep the mind active. That would be kind of nice. At the very least, maybe going to a college and seeing if they need any tutors or anything like that. I used to do that. I did that for many years, where I actually was like an in-class assigned tutor. It was very cool. I'm really liking these vertical lines. I'm liking it a lot. So if you're kind of following along and doing something like this, I'm drawing the sort of lines. Like this. Vertical, and they are all of different lengths. So it's like long, short, long, short, long, short. And I'm letting the edge kind of taper. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm enjoying this a lot. This is kind of nice. Muted colors. Very nice. Draw a gear that engages with the outer gear. I think we can do that for a few minutes. Yeah, I'll try that. Miss Rush, you're from Vancouver Island. Nice. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. I'm just kind of reading through those messages in the chat, and I'm going to start grabbing my tool so that we can quickly draw another gear that engages. Yeah, very nice. Violet Blue said, absolutely agree. So sad, yeah. And Ron said, back in your college days, you consider going to university and take fractals just for fun. Yeah, fractals are good. Could have been fun, but your math classes were focused on your major. Yeah. I took a lot of classes I didn't have to. It was good. It was good stuff. Although the classes I didn't have to take for me were art. So let me see. I'm going to start with the two outer rings for this. Somebody requested another gear that engages. So I'm going to start with the two outer rings because I want those to touch. So I'm just kind of going to pick a spot, maybe here. And I'm going to draw a ring. I'm going to draw a circle that touches the second to last concentric ring on the initial set of gears. Oh, it ended up being kind of big. That's cool. So I need that to kind of touch there. I just kind of picked a random spot. So there's my outer circle, and I'm going to do an initial one, and it's going to be kind of similar to this here. No matter what size your circle is for the second gear, this is fine. This still works. They still interlock. This is actually kind of reminding me right now of what was it? I was just watching the movie 2049. I'm actually really bad at remembering the names of movies, for the record. I'm awful, like absolutely awful. I'm going to do another one. What is it called again? It's... My goodness. Sometimes I feel like my frontal cortex is full of art and math and nothing else fits. So I try to recall something as simple as a movie that I watched like 3 days ago and I can't remember what it's called. It's a problem. You might see that occasionally when I'm like, what's the name of that book? Don't remember. So there's last, second to last, and then the next one. We need five rings in order to make this work. So I need 2 more. I'm going to do another one here. There we go. I'm just remembering the line in the movie where he's asking him, how does it feel to hold someone's hand, or how does it feel? And then he's having to show that he's emotionally like disconnected by saying the things that this dude keeps telling him to say. I will remember eventually. I will remember. My brain can learn new things. All right, so there you can see this one here is going to engage with the first one. So because I want to just show how it engages, I'm going to kind of show you how I do this, even if your secondary set of gears turns out much smaller than the first one, it doesn't matter. You can still make them fit, mostly just because it's a drawing. If you were to actually build this, it would be a little bit harder. But yeah, we can make them match. Very nice. Yeah, I'm just kind of checking out the chat real quick. DB quit teaching in 99. Yeah, maybe you got lucky. You quit teaching back then. It's even in those years, things still kind of worked as expected. So I'm going to start using my pencil here, and I will draw some gears. And really the key here is that the gears, the outer gears here, no matter the size of your circle, make the gears the same size as the ones here. That's the easiest. So something you can do is use your pencil to kind of gauge the size of the base of each one. So I'm thinking about this much on my pencil, and I'll attempt to sort of recreate that here fairly closely. So about this much. That's pretty close. Doesn't have to be exact, of course, we're just drawing and playing. I did that with a different drawing, and the secondary gear was much smaller, and you can still make them fit that way. And I can show you that real quick, I think. Where did it end up? Just so that you can see what I'm talking about. So in this other drawing, that's what I ended up doing, is I made a secondary gear, and it definitely is a different size, but as long as the gears are approximately the same size and spaced apart approximately the same, then it looks like it's going to work. So that's what that was. I'm going to go back to the one we're doing right now. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to finish sketching this in. This is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this. And so right here you can kind of see where it matches up, that line, and there like that. Fairly close, pretty close. Yeah, I'm thinking, if I recall correctly, if we were to make these actually fit together, we would need trigonometry. And probably a little bit of calculus just to make sure everything fits properly. But with trig, it's actually not that hard to get them to work together and to design them. It's always good. It's good stuff. A little bit of trigonometry can go a long way. That's going to be the advice for today. Use your trig. Awesome. Finish the rest. Yeah. Yeah. Good night. Good night. Yeah, I know that it's our lives go a little long sometimes, and I'm trying to kind of aim for about an hour. So what I'm going to do here, you kind of get the gist of kind of the fun things that we're doing here. I'm going to finish sketching this gear in, and then we can kind of call it a night or morning, or, whatever time it is for you. And then someone just mentioned right now that the frame brings it together. Thank you. My secret art sketchbook said this is excellent. Love cogs. Thank you. Yeah, this is fun. This is a lot more fun than I considered. Who knows? For such a long time I didn't So what I'm going to do for this one is just to make things a little weird and a little fun. The spaces that I'm making here are going to be like these little ovals, and I'm not even bothering to lay out my framework in any special way. And the reason for that, in my mind, is simply that part of this design is cut off by the edge of my frame, so I don't really have to worry about it being perfect. I simply have to worry about the part that's visible looking decent enough. There we go. So these are going to be the cutout sections. And so what I would do here, if I just want to make it just one item here, I would just use these circles and either color them in a dark color, like a deep gray, or just like I'm doing right now, just straight up going in there and coloring it with black. That's what I would do. This might actually be a good time to finally use that brush, the one that had the little brush tip that I did not want to use earlier because it was scary. Let's try using that real quick. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, for filling in bigger spaces, a brush pen will always win. Like that. That's pretty nice. It's a lot of fun. Very good. Yes, thank you. Somebody finally put it into the chat. Blade Runner, my gosh. Thank you. You are now an extension of my brain because I couldn't recall. You have now assisted in and now because of this I might remember a little bit better. Blade Runner 2049, thank you. That was exactly what I was thinking of. And I think that might be why I have a habit when I like a movie. I will buy it and put it on my computer and I'll watch it many times. I'm one of those weird people. I might have a problem, but it's a good problem. So definitely, you're right. Blade Runner 2049. That was the thing that I was thinking of. That was a good movie. It had some weird parts, but I think it was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. So I have it on my computer and I watch it. I'm just going to try to add some of this kind of grayish purplish here because I want to see what it looks like. I just want to see. I'm curious right now. Like this instant, I'm curious. I like that. It actually does end up meshing really well with the warm hues from the sepia. I'm enjoying this much more than I thought I would. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you, art supplies. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. This is a fun little experiment. It's fun finding out what the inks and the pigments do when they're wet, when there's water involved. Very interesting. When it kind of blooms a little bit, that adds a different touch to it as well. So that's fun. I think that because it's been just a little more than an hour, I think that this is a good place to pause. I'm going to zoom back out very briefly so that we can see kind of how far we got in an hour. It's actually pretty good progress, I think. It's decent progress. Don't ever beat yourself up for not being able to finish a drawing. It's a lot of work. It's more work than most people can imagine. So yeah, make progress on your drawings. Get part of it done. Play around. Definitely. Very nice. Ron said, you haven't seen the movie, but you're thinking about it. You never got around to it. I liked it. I liked the original one too. And there's like a lot of weird elements that kind of get tied together from the first one to the second one. It's nice that the actor came back. Oh my gosh, don't get me talking about movies. I may not be able to remember the names of the movies, but I love them. Lord of the Rings, for sure, is one of my favorites. For sure. If you guys like Lord of the Rings, if you like anything science fiction, I'm going to be there. We can talk about that. It's definitely one of my biggest things. Blade Runner, for sure. Very nice. So that's it for today, guys. I'm just kind of giving it a moment and chatting really quickly just because I know some of you guys might be kind of tidying up. So yeah, definitely. This is it for today. This is it. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. If you do anything for Valentine's Day, or as my friend would call it, Valentine's, if you do anything for that, I know I'm going to go start putting some dinner together and spend a little bit of time with my husband before he heads to work. He works at night. So we'll just kind of relax, have some dinner, have a good day. He brought me chocolates earlier, chocolate covered strawberries. That's very sweet of him. So I hope you have somebody to hang out with today. Hope you have friends, nice people around you. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Try and relax. I will see you again soon. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.